Hi everyone, Melanie Grant here. This is a coding short video on what are Medicare edits. I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how to pull up the CMS website's section for NCCI edits, where we can look at procedure to procedure edits for hospital or providers and mutually exclusive edits. And I'll give you a little bit of information on what those mean and how to find out more information. I'm going to pause the video while I share my screen. Okay, so here I have in my Google search, I've searched in for CMS NCCI. I do this because I find it's the easiest way to get to the website I'm looking for. There is a direct link, and many people may say, let's go to CMS and pull it up there. I personally find it's easier instead of going through CMS Gov and searching the CMS Gov's search bar, which I'm showing you here. I have several different documents when I go to CMS and search for NCCI. But when I go directly through Google, this is going to take me directly to the CMS NCCI page. And because CMS updates information all the time, this is the best trustworthy page that you can go to for the most up-to-date information. Here I'm on the NCCI homepage, and to verify, I clicked Home. You can see there's differences for both Medicare and Medicaid. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to take a quick look at some of the information from Medicare. The first thing I want to point out to you is the Medicare NCCI policy. This is a list that you can look at by chapter of all of the coding policies pertaining to different procedures and how they code together. There's also a download that you can pull up here for older references, and each of these is going to have the entire policy manual as we've seen in the past for those of us that are familiar with it. If I download this, such as I've done here for our evaluation and management codes, I can see all the information that is now new, highlighted in red. Because evaluation management codes have a lot of changes as of January 2023, the information in this manual is going to reflect that. What I really like about this is I can click here on any of the sections within this subsection to see exactly how I might bill a certain procedure. It's going to give me information on the specific codes found in the CPT codebook based off of the code section that I've clicked on. And if that was the wrong one, I can always get one here on the top of my PDF to go back to the front page, or two, because that's where our table of contents is. Let's say I'm looking at evaluation and management unlikely edits. Medical unlikely edits, they're going to give some information here, but basically this is saying the two services that you're billing would not be billed together because one includes the other, or it includes elements of the other that should be billed in a different service. They're going to give us several different examples of exactly what this is and why they're going to have certain things included. So if you're finding that you're getting denials for MUE edits or medically unlikely, then you want to come in here and look up the information to see exactly what the manual states. Now, going back to our CMS website, I can also look up medically unlikely edits here. On my links to the left, I have the medically unlikely edits page, or I can click specifically here under the NCCI for Medicare or Medicaid, depending on who I'm billing. On this reference, I have some downloads that I can use to look up those edits, and each one is specific to the type of service I'm providing. Obviously, if I'm in a facility versus a DME supplier, or I'm a professional-based coder for practitioner services, that's going to depend and determine which one of these I'm going to download. We'll let that download in the back while I show you the other links we have here. The second one we have is the NCCI edits for procedure to procedures. Procedure to procedure coding edits simply mean that the code itself would not be billed with another code unless there's something unique happening. And this is one of our most common denials that we see, which is saying that something is bundled to another or it's included. You can see that there's several different links here. I have both hospital procedure to procedure edits or practitioner procedure to procedure edits. And depending on what my code set is, I have a range from 5,000 through 79.99 or 8,000 through the U codes. Down here, I have several different codes as well. I'm going to go ahead and review with you how to look at the P2P edits for hospital edits in the 8,000 series through the U series, which is basically all of your codes from 8 until the end of the chapters. I've already pulled these up, so I'm going to go directly to my download now, which is the other way, of course. When you download this file, just a real quick reference, it's going to look something like this. Oh, here we go. You're going to have a zip file first. Let's go ahead and pull those up. Just like we have this practitioner MUE one, we'll do this one just to show you how it looks. Once I've opened the MUE file from the zip, I get a folder that has two different texts in it. One is a CSV document, the other is Excel. The same thing with the NCCIs, except they come in a text document or Excel. As a coder, you always want to use the Excel document. If you're working in computer programming and you're entering information into your EHR, you'll use one of these other files, but you'll have a lot more training and knowledge on how to do those. Now for the MUE file here, this one doesn't need much work. All we need to do is search for a code to find out how many of our services are likely. Let's say that I'm looking for 99213. When I hit search, I can enter 99213, and for the practitioner services, this is likely twice per day, but not more than that. You can see some codes here have a code of 0. This means that it's not likely done by a practitioner service, or it's not something that's covered by Medicare. And they're going to give you the reason for that to the right. Our other file here is our NCCI Edits. This is the one that's more complicated, so I'm going to go into this in more detail with you. The first thing I want to point out as we're doing this is there's a couple of guidelines for how to use these. For the MUE Edits, there's a book, as well as for the NCCI Edits. The booklet for the NCCI Edits is here. I've pulled this directly from our Medicare page. So if I go back to my home page, they have all kinds of tools and tips that we can use to pull this up. So for NCCI P2P Edits, I can pull this information up here from the policy manual for Medicare services. Okay, and that's what this one is here. This is the How to Use Medicare National Correct Coding Initiative, and it's going to go into all the steps of how to read the NCCI spreadsheet that we just pulled up. There's a lot of detail in here, but it's basically taking you over the steps that I just went on how to open it, how to look at the tables and what each table means, and how to compare data within these tables. I'm going to show you that a little easier. The first thing I do is I made a copy of the entire spreadsheet when I opened up this document. I do this because I'm going to turn it into a table, and I want to be able to easily reference in case I mess something up. Then I'm going to click somewhere within the table, and I'm going to hit Control A. I don't want to take everything, so let me go ahead and delete my header first. I have it copied on the other side, so I don't have to worry about bringing it back in right away. There we go. Now when I hit Control A, it doesn't select the entire spreadsheet, which is what I want. Even though it doesn't have all of this information, when I insert a table, I can change it. If you're not familiar with Excel or how to create tables within Excel, I highly recommend watching a couple of videos offered from Microsoft or other learning tools in order to find out how to create a table so you're a little familiar with what you're doing. Now here, I've selected a table without headers. I've selected the data range, which is very long. In fact, it's several thousand. So we're not going to scroll through this. But I've gone ahead and I've put this into a table format so I can sort and filter. I also want to bring my header back. So I've highlighted this here. I copy it and I just paste it over here so I can reference it. Now I'm ready to search. The column 1 and column 2 edits are commonly what's referred to as denials when you're talking about NCCI edits. Column 3 is something that's just going to tell you how long it's been in existence. I don't really use this one, so I'm just going to hide it. It's not valuable to me. Column D here, column 4, is going to tell me when the effective date of a denial went into place. And if it's been deleted or is no longer active, then I have a deletion date here. I also have modifier allowed table, which we'll look at in a minute, and the reasoning. So to get started, I'm going to look at something that's very commonly denied, which is a basic office visit 99213 with an injection for a vaccine. Now, the first thing to keep in mind is column 1 is your primary procedure edits. This is going to be for the vaccine, not your office visit. So if you enter 99213, you will find several things that it denies against, but you're not likely going to find the 90471, which is the administration for your vaccine. Just because you don't see it when you enter column 1 and column 2 doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So always check both of your codes on both sides. I'm going to clear out the filter and then re-enter 90471 for my vaccine. Then, to make it easier, I'm going to filter this as well. Even though I can see down here that the 99213 exists, it's a lot easier when looking at all the edits that apply for just that code, so you don't get mixed up by accidentally looking and seeing that it's deleted and maybe not seeing that it's been added back in, as we can see here. So how do I know that? Well, our first line is an edit that went into place in 2013, January 1. This reads backwards. And it was deleted on 2019 of December 31st. And it did allow a modifier according to the CPT manual and CMS manual coding instructions, which we pulled up. However, there's a secondary edit for this line. So even though this was deleted, it's been re-added as of January 1st, 2020, the very next day of when it was deleted. And there is no deletion date, so that means it's currently active. The one here indicates that a modifier is in fact allowed, meaning that if the documentation supports a modifier, you would want to look at modifiers that would apply with your office visit, your column 2 code. Because this is an E&M and it's separate of the vaccine, you'll verify documentation to ensure that the patient was not just being seen for the purpose of getting a vaccine, but if they were seen for something like a cold and they happen to get a vaccine at the same time because they were due, then you can go ahead and build these together with a modifier. In that example, the modifier would be 25. So that's your brief summary of how to look up NCCI and MUE edits using the CMS Medicare manual. This is not an all-inclusive review of all the tools that you have available in the NCCI page from CMS or other providers. And if you're not working with a Medicare or Medicaid patient, these may not apply. However, many insurances will reference the NCCI edits, and many of your offices and hospitals will also use these as a reference tool for what codes should and shouldn't be billed together. That's all for today. We'll see you next time.